Okay, going to putts for an hour or two this morning. I think I'm going to get this ready for pulling the dash, getting all that out of there, because amongst other things showing up and the accessory drive, I finally got a box from Phoenix, which is who I order most of my Dakota stuff through, and we have the dash, or the gauge set up here. I haven't even taken it out of the box yet, so you can see here's the two pods that'll go in the 69 dash, and I can tell you now, taking the 69 dash out, not as nice as taking out a 67 or 68. Here are the ones for in the console. And of course your standard bag of tricks for Dakota. It is so much nicer to just terminate everything here, and then it's just a couple cables. Got all our sensors. Nope, big fan of using the Dakota system. Works well, looks nice, and it's just really nice to work with. The other thing that did show up today yesterday, is the new shift forks and the hardened bushings for the shifter. So those finally showed up. Cam is still, that's weeks and weeks out yet, so I'm not going to worry about that. The engine is being overboard at 60. We wound up ordering inverted dome pistons. So they're not a true dish. You still get the 20 cc's, but you also still, have some quench. So we'll work with that. It sucks, but got to do what you got to do. That engine was never going to seal up at 40. Number 8 was really out, and number 1 was pretty bad. So, the next common oversize is 60 over. So, like I said, you'll have a 388. ShopDog's kind of checking what we're doing here. So, just getting ready to get started. But one of the things I did was remembered I have all these little mounts and stuff, so I dug them out. So, I will try to actually shoot a little bit of footage where I just set this down somewhere like this. There's ShopDog. And I can just wander around and, do some work. Somebody's got to do it. So, we will see how that goes. And then a couple quick notes. One, the new clutch should be here tomorrow, I think. It's what it says. And 2, I've already started kind of flattening it, but we're actually going to try to save this pan if we can. They're very expensive, and I've already really blown the budget. So, just kind of clearing stuff away from the car so that I can work in here. We'll get the steering wheel pulled. We'll drop the column. Start unplugging stuff, get the dash pad out because you really have to for these. Get the radio pulled. It's just putsy stuff. I may try, once I get set up, to do a time lapse and see how that goes. I haven't ever tried that before, so we will see how this goes. This is all experimentation. Okay, so that's going to be our time-lapse experiment. Hopefully it wasn't too obnoxious. See my big fat belly. But this is, of course, why we're rewiring this car. Look at this nightmare under here. I don't even know what to do with all of this. I'm just cutting it all out. I don't think much of this is going back in this car. But yeah, so this is what we're removing right here. And then for whatever reason, that That rag joint did not want to come off. And then for people worried about cutting up this car, you can see, if you know what you're looking at, that this was a column shift car many, many moons ago. So we're not going to get too worked up over that. This was inline 6, we believe, column shift car. Probably very fun, very nice. Somebody bought it brand new. But yeah, it's been altered a little. I'm real disappointed to see this, so we're gonna have to order one of those as well. So, 10 things at a time, but at least it's something you can get. That's the beauty of working on these cars. You can actually just get stuff. You just go to a catalog and order it, and it'll show up in the next week. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I don't think I'm going to keep going with the time-lapse thing because I'm dying to see how that worked. So we'll see what I think of that. You can tell the people who put this in were not Ricky Racers. They were a shop, because normally when you mount the tack on a column, there's actually a big worm clamp that people use for it. And they just used a CV boot retainer. So that was interesting. Took me a minute to figure that out. Other than that, there's 10,000 zip ties under here, just cutting them and cutting them and cutting them. And then, of course, because these kind of shops don't actually fix anything, something was wrong. Well, you can see what's wrong. The lock is gone for their neutral safety switch. So instead of fixing the connector, which they're gettable and not that expensive, they had a zip tie wrapped around it to hold it closed because, why not? Defeat the whole purpose of the connector. But I'm slowly pulling all of this out because some of these gauges are still good. So we're going to try to not destroy things, but yeah, it's coming apart fun. So bummer that we got to order that, but at least that's gettable. I've got a suspicion that once I've got this pad off, I'm going to find all kinds of missing stuff. So, because this has obviously been apart a few times, an awful lot of broken plastic things. So we will see. But that a new dash is not cheap. So I have a feeling that we're going to be making this work, even though it's going to have some holes in it. Nothing I can do about that. But he'll be here tomorrow. We'll ask him what he wants to do. Okay, ShopDog's a little bored. It's been a little while. We had some errands to run, so I'm back out here now. I just pulled the glove box door and glove box, and more stuff was modified, so that was fun. And I'm getting ready to pull the dash pad. So I've pulled the screws on both sides. These have posts coming in, and let's see if you can see it. Hopefully you guys are seeing, because I can't see what you guys are seeing, but you can see should be some posts coming through. So we'll take care of that. That ignition amplifier, that cheapy thing, that's been one of the big problems with this car, that's going to go away. We're done with that. Yeah, just slowly trimming and pulling, trimming and pulling. That's all I can do. A little here and a little here. All the nuts pulled here. One thing to note, they're 11/30 seconds. So be prepared for that. And now I'll go over and unscrew a couple screws on the dash itself that are going through the sheet metal into the pad, and it should slide right off. Okay, so that was another experiment in time lapse. I hope that works out. I hope I find some copyright free music to put over that, or that's going to be boring. This is normally not this hard to take out, but all this aftermarket stuff they've got down in here really caused a lot of issues. I mean, they're never easy on a 69, but, you know, they're still not normally that difficult. But since I don't know what of any of that I've got to keep, I'm trying to be a little cautious here. So, just pulling things apart slowly. And 10,000 zip ties. I mean, they are everywhere. Spent half my time just cutting zip ties. So, we're slowly getting there. Yeah, getting the rest of this out, and then, God, I hate pulling these things. Pulling those kick panels is a nightmare, but, you know, I think we're going to have to. It's the only way to do the carpet properly. Plus, who knows what's back there, and it'd be nice to make sure the fitting is on there correctly, and like I said, we just don't know what's all back there, so we're going to want to clean it up. But, I think I'm going to take a break and go eat a little bit of supper. ShopDog ate his dinner. He wanted to stay in with Mama. Didn't want to come out. So, but neighbor Jeff is in. And he's exercising the Roku right now. Watching a show. So, I will continue just layering this stuff out. It's just crazy. Okay, this has been a joy. Kind of going through there, getting the alarm and all these switches and all that crap down there, and everything wrapped around everything, and everything twisted and taped into everything. Trying to figure out what I'm going to have to reuse and what I'm not. I'm probably going to get stuck reusing that, but for now, it's going in a bucket because I don't want it here. Gotta figure out what that even is. I think I'll throw it down there for now. So, yeah, we're getting there. So, this should now come free. And you just start kind of doing the wiggle. You know, finding what's stuck where. I'm going to have to pop this down. You can see there's a little bracket here. I'm going to have to pop that out for the clutch anticipate switch. Or the clutch safety switch, whatever you want to call it. So, having a hard time doing that with one finger. But I'll show you what we got left in wiring in just a second. It doesn't look like much, but that's it. That's your actual dash harness, 69 Camaro. There just isn't much to it. So, you can see I've pulled a lot of aftermarket crap out of here. And I've still got to get that down when this is out, because there's some wires here. You know, we get new courtesy lights, and we'll take care of that. Obviously, we're going to want to keep the clutch. Gonna have to figure out what's going on with the way the stereo's routed, but you can see there's a billion little extra holes in here, so we're gonna have to see what we can do about that. There's just too many holes in this car. It's not going to be watertight at this point. The ones that really freak me out are the ones that are way down here that you can't see yet, but you will shortly. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The dash has been stripped. This is the rear body harness, so don't worry about that. We'll get that when we pull the sill tins up. But yeah, so carpet's up. I don't like what they did here. This is not my preference, but we will see if, because it's a lot of wire, it's probably not going to fit well here, but I will look at what the lengths are, because there is another sill plate over there that we could possibly use. We will look into that. That's not the most urgent part. That's the least egregious thing I have seen on this car. So, no, we still got to pull kick plates. Those, or kick panels, those are not fun. There's just no nice way to put that. Those just suck. You know, and it always comes down to that cowl piece that goes through. And you can see there's a lot of holes that I'm not overly fond of, particularly these two down here. Those are definitely going to let water and vapors and crap in, so we're going to have to deal with that yet. And yeah, so this is probably the end of today's Bent69 video. You know, if there's a whole bunch of video left, then it isn't. Thanks for watching. And an addendum, so obviously I didn't end it yet. I got the new shift forks, and I want to show you the difference in the wear. These are the old shift forks. You can see how uneven they're worn and stepped. The big thing is, look at how different they look. You know, I have a feeling this is going to make a little difference in the shifting. But you can see, in fact, that one's got a big step in it. I don't know how well that shows up. But yeah, this is definitely going to work a little better. And then, of course, here's the hardened seats for the shift rod linkage instead of the little plastic nylon pieces. That will also take some of the slack out of the shifting.